Iridanix was not a normal place. It was a huge space station floating between two galaxies. A place where aliens of all kinds came to trade, talk, or hide. Lights flashed in every color. Languages echoed through the halls, and the smell of strange foods filled the air. Captain Elias Ward, a human explorer, walked through the busy central plaza. He had seen many worlds, many species, but nothing could prepare him for what he was about to witness. A crowd had gathered in front of the zero-grav dance dome. People stood in silence, staring through the clear glass. Inside floated a glowing figure, a woman, but not a human woman. She was tall and thin, her skin bright like blue fire, glowing with soft light that changed every few seconds. Her long hair floated around her, shining like stars. She moved slowly, like she was dancing in water. Her body twisted and turned with grace, never touching the walls, never needing to speak. Her movement was music. "She's a Lethari," someone whispered near Elias. He turned. "A what?" "A Lethari, one of the deadliest species in the galaxy. Her skin holds energy. If you touch her, you die." Elias blinked. "Seriously?" The alien beside him nodded quickly. "Yes, no one touches a Lethari, ever. They're like walking lightning." Inside the dome, the Lethari woman opened her eyes, bright silver. She looked at the crowd, then at Elias. For a moment, they stared at each other. Something passed between them, a strange feeling Elias couldn't explain. Suddenly, the dome doors opened. The station had invited anyone to dance with her. No one moved. Elias stepped forward. The crowd gasped. A few even backed away. Was this human crazy? He walked up to the edge of the dome. The woman floated down, stopping a meter away from him. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," she said. Her voice was soft, calm, like wind through leaves. Elias smiled. "Why not?" "Because if you touch me, you'll die." He raised an eyebrow. "That's fair. But can you dance?" She tilted her head, surprised. The dome sealed shut behind him. Gravity turned off. Elias began to float. He struggled for balance but managed to stay upright. "You are not afraid?" she asked. "I'm human. We're not smart enough to be afraid until it's too late." She actually smiled. "My name is Sci-Fi," she said. "Elias, nice to meet you." They began to move, slowly circling each other. No touching, just careful, mirrored motion. It was a dance of balance and trust. Sci-Fi moved like flowing water. Elias copied her as best as he could, clumsy but brave. The crowd outside watched in silence. A human was dancing with a being of pure energy. No weapons, no fear. "Why did you come here?" Elias asked. "To be seen," Sci-Fi replied. "Seen as what?" "Not as a weapon." Elias nodded. He understood more than he expected. They spun, floated, and twisted around each other. She glowed brighter with each movement. He didn't flinch. "You're not like the others," she said quietly. Elias smiled again. "We humans do crazy things. Some call it bravery, others call it stupidity." She laughed, a clear, beautiful sound that echoed through the dome. As the dance ended, Sci-Fi slowly drifted closer. "I still can't touch you," she said softly. "I know," Elias whispered. "But you tried anyway. I didn't come here to win. I came to ask." She reached out her hand, stopping just inches from his. Sparks danced on her fingers. The energy was powerful, wild, but also sad. "I've never danced with someone before," she said. Elias looked at her glowing face. "Then I'm honored." The lights dimmed, gravity returned. The doors opened. The crowd began to clap softly at first. Then louder. Elias floated back to the exit. Sci-Fi stayed behind, still glowing, still dangerous, but something had changed. As he walked away, someone whispered, "That human is insane." Another said, "No, he's just human." Elias smiled to himself. He didn't care about the danger. He had seen something rare, something lonely, something beautiful, and he had dared to dance with it. The zero-grav dance dome was quiet now. The crowd had left, still whispering about the brave human and the glowing alien. But inside, Elias Ward stood still, breathing slowly, eyes on the woman who could kill with a single touch. Sci-Fi floated quietly above the glass floor, her body glowing with soft pulses of light. She looked calm, but something behind her silver eyes looked tired. "You stayed," Elias said. "Still floating too. I thought you'd disappear." "I usually do," Sci-Fi replied. "But this time, I didn't want to." They stared at each other. The room was silent. No music, no audience, no pressure. Just two beings in a weightless space, separated by fear and something else neither could name. "Do people always stare at you like that?" Elias asked. "Yes," Sci-Fi said. "They look at me like I'm a bomb or a monster." "You dance like a star," Elias replied. That made her smile a little. She floated closer. Careful not to touch, her glow flickered with emotion. "You speak without fear. Humans are strange. We're full of bad ideas," Elias said. "But sometimes those ideas lead to good things." Sci-Fi's smile faded, or dangerous ones. Elias didn't argue. Instead, he asked, "Why did you really come here, Sci-Fi?" "Not just to dance." She looked away. Her eyes distant now. "I needed help, but I didn't know who I could ask." "Help with what?" She hesitated. Then she reached into a small case floating near her and pulled out a clear crystal tube filled with glowing blue liquid. "This is a test sample from my body," she said. "I lose energy, slowly. My charge is dying." "Is that a bad thing?" Elias asked, for a lethargy. "Yes," she said. "Our energy is our life. If I lose too much, I die." Elias frowned. "Can't your people help?" "No," Sci-Fi said coldly. "They sent me away. Lethargy do not accept weakness. To them, I am already dead." Elias felt a fire rise in his chest. "Then they're idiots." Sci-Fi blinked. Surprised. "You don't even know me." "I know enough. You're alive. You're kind. You're different. That should be enough." She stared at him for a long moment. "You're the first person to say that." A soft chime rang in the air. The dome's gravity returned. They landed softly. Elias stepped closer, but still stayed a safe distance. "I know someone who might help," he said. "She's a scientist. Name's Doc Marn. She works with all species. Crazy genius type. You like her." Sci-Fi hesitated. "And you trust her?" "With my life," Elias said. "Then, take me to her." They walked through the busy station. Some people stared. Some backed away. No one stopped them. Doc Marn's lab was deep in the undersection of the station. Metal walls, strange smells, and blinking lights filled the area inside. A short woman with wild hair and glowing goggles looked up from a console. "Elias Ward," she said. "You bring me the weirdest stuff." "This is Sci-Fi," Elias said. "She's lethargy. She needs your help." Doc Marn studied Sci-Fi carefully, then raised an eyebrow. "You touch her yet?" "No." "Good. I like my lab non-exploded." Sci-Fi showed her the glowing sample. Marn scanned it, her eyes wide. "Your charge is destabilizing." Marn muttered, "Fascinating. You're leaking energy at a slow, steady rate. You'll burn out in a few cycles if this continues. Can you stop it?" Elias asked. "Ma or N nodded. "Maybe. There's a mineral called thermidine. Rare stuff. Found only on the planet Calgaros." "What's the problem?" Elias asked. "The problem," Marn said, "is that Calgaros is a death zone. Volcanic storms, electric fields, lava rivers. The kind of place where ships melt before landing." Elias looked at Sci-Fi. She looked away. "I'll go," he said. Ma or N blinked. "Are you nuts? You can't go there alone." "I won't be alone. I'll take a team and a reinforced shuttle." Sci-Fi finally looked up. "You would risk your life for me," Elias shrugged. "You dance with me. That's enough reason." Marn rolled her eyes. "Humans. Always doing things that make no sense." Elias grinned. "Exactly." Later, in a quiet part of the station, Sci-Fi and Elias stood near the window. The stars looked close enough to touch. "You're not afraid?" she asked again. "I am," he admitted. "But not of you." She looked at him, silver eyes filled. "With sparks, most beings would run. I've seen too much to run now." They stood in silence. "If you find the mineral," she said softly, "I might survive. But I'll change. I may not be lethargy anymore. You'll still be Sci-Fi," Elias said. "And what if I become touchable?" Elias smiled gently. Then maybe I'll get to hold your hand. After all, we never finished our dance, Sci-Fi laughed again, but this time it was softer, warmer. Then don't die, Elias Ward. I'll try not to. The next morning, Elias Ward stood on the loading platform of Dock Bay 9. His ship, the Dawn's Pier, was being prepared for the dangerous mission ahead. Engineers were installing heat shields, storm stabilizers, and extra supplies. Calgaros was not just a dangerous planet, it was known as the graveyard of ships. Inside the ship, Doc Martin sat with Sci-Fi in the medbay. Machines buzzed softly around them. Martin had already run several scans on Sci-Fi's body. Now she was trying to understand something deeper. This is strange, Martin said, looking at the screen. Your body is changing faster than I expected. Sci-Fi sat still. Her glow had become dimmer. Her voice was quieter now. I can feel it, each hour. I'm colder. Does it hurt? No. But it feels empty, like I'm slowly forgetting how to exist. Martin looked serious. You're not dying just because of lost energy. Something is suppressing your regeneration. It's like your body wants to shut down. Sci-Fi turned her face away. She already knew. I was made to be perfect, she said. But I wasn't. Martin frowned. What do you mean? Sci-Fi took a deep breath. I was born during a storm season on Lethera. Babies born in those months sometimes have unstable energy. I was one of them. At first, my powers seemed normal. But at age 12, I fainted during training. The elders ran tests. They said I was a flawed. That's harsh, Martin said. In my culture, weakness is a threat to survival. They believe emotion, kindness, even curiosity can make our energy unstable. But you're still alive. They banished me before the change became public. Told me to fade with honor far away from Lethery space. Doc Martin leaned back, crossing her arms. Let me guess you didn't agree. I left, Sci-Fi said. But I didn't want to fade. I wanted to live, even if that meant finding help from strangers. Martin nodded. Well, good thing humans love impossible problems. At that moment, Elias stepped in. Ship's ready, he said. Ma or N looked at Sci-Fi. One last thing, you might be weak now, but you're not powerless. Stay sharp. There are people who love to catch a Lethery on the edge of death. Sci-Fi nodded slowly. I know. The Dawn's Pier launched with a soft rumble. As it left the station, stars turned into streaks of light. The jump to warp speed took only seconds. Inside the ship, Elias sat in the cockpit. Sci-Fi stood beside him, her hand resting near the control panel but never touching anything. You ever flown through a warp corridor before? He asked. No, she said. We teleport, but it's only allowed within Lethery space. You're missing out, Elias grinned. Warp flight's like sliding through a tunnel made of lightning. Sci-Fi gave a small smile. That sounds familiar. There was a silence between them, not uncomfortable, just thoughtful. You really think Thermidine will help me? She asked. I trust Marn. She's smarter than she looks. And she already saved my life twice. Why are you doing this, Elias? She asked, voice low. Helping me, risking everything. Elias looked straight ahead. Because I've seen too many people ignored. Too many voices silenced just because they were different. She looked at him. You think I'm different? I think you're brave. Sci-Fi turned her face toward the stars. Her glow flickered. Once faint, but still alive, after 8 hours of warp travel. The Dawn's Pier reached the edge of the Calgaros system. The planet below spun slowly, covered in red clouds and volcanic fire. Elias tapped the controls. Entering descent now. Strap in. As they dropped into the atmosphere, the ship began to shake violently. Outside, lightning storms danced across the sky. Molten rivers moved like veins. Over the planet's surface, Sci-Fi held onto the seat beside Elias, watching the storms with wide eyes. This place feels alive. It tries to kill everything that lands, Elias said. That counts as alive in my book. A bolt of energy hit the ship's shield. Lights flickered, and warning alarms screamed. Relax, Elias said. It only gets worse from here. They landed in a rocky canyon where thermidine crystals were rumored to form near thermal vents. The air was hot and thick, but breathable for humans with a suit. Elias put on his armored suit and helmet. Sci-Fi didn't need one. The heat didn't harm her. In fact, she seemed to grow a bit brighter in it. You okay? Elias asked through the comm. Yes, she said. The energy here, it feeds me. A little. Then stay close. Together. They walked through the canyon. The ground trembled with deep booms from under the surface. Lava flowed in narrow streams between sharp rocks. The sky above was orange and black dot after half an hour. They found it a cluster of thermidine crystals glowing a deep violet color. Elias knelt and pulled out a special container. This is it? But just as he reached for the crystal, his scanner. Beep dot movement dot sir a turned sharply. We're not alone. 3 figures stepped out from the shadows. Tall, armored, weapons aimed, not from the planet, not native. These were bounty hunters. Step away from the mineral, one of them said. Sci-Fi stepped in front of Elias. You don't want this fight. Oh, we do, said another. You're worth a fortune, Lethery. Elias whispered, you strong. Enough to shock them. Sci-Fi's glow brightened slightly. Maybe once, then do it now. A sudden pulse of light burst from Sci-Fi's body, blinding and sharp. One bounty hunter dropped instantly. The other two fired back. Elias rolled to cover, shot twice, and hit one in the leg. The last hunter ran off, limping into the smoke. Silence returned. Elias stood up, panting. You okay? Sci-Fi nodded. I'm burning faster. I won't last long. Elias picked up the thermidine crystal. Then let's get back and save you. They ran back to the ship, heat rising behind them. The engines of the Dawn's pier roared as it lifted from the burning ground of Calgaros. Smoke and fire filled the sky behind them, and sharp winds beat against the ship. Inside the cockpit, Elias held the controls tight. His hands were shaking. Sweat dripped down his face. Hold on, he said, teeth clenched. The gravity's pulling us down. Sci-Fi stood behind him, her glow flickering weaker than before. Her body swayed slightly, and her eyes looked heavy. I don't know how much longer I can stay awake, she said. Just a little longer, Elias replied. We got the thermidine. We're getting out of here. Flames flashed outside the window. A final burst of power from the engines pushed the ship through the upper atmosphere. Then, finally peace. They broke through the storm clouds. Stars appeared again. We're out, Elias said with a deep breath. Sci-Fi leaned back against the wall, sliding down slowly. Her glow was very dim now. Set a course for Iridanix, she whispered. Elias didn't waste time. He activated the jump drive. Back on Iridanix, Doc Marn had cleared her lab. She knew time was short. Sci-Fi was running out of energy fast. The moment the Dawn's pier docked, medical drones rolled in, scanning and lifting Sci-Fi from the ship into the lab. Elias ran beside her the whole time. Her levels are below 20%, Marn said quickly. Any lower, and the cells will collapse. Then fix it, Elias said. Handing over the thermidine container. Marn opened it carefully. The crystal inside shimmered like a frozen storm. Beautiful stuff, she whispered. Let's hope it works. She ground the crystal down and mixed it with a stabilizing serum. Then she injected it into Sci-Fi's shoulder. Her body jerked a little. Her glow flared, then faded again. Now we wait, Marn said. Either her body accepts the compound, or it shuts down completely. Elias sat beside her. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Sci-Fi didn't move. Her light was barely there. Elias leaned forward and whispered, You didn't dance with me just to die. Then, her hand twitched. Another hour passed. Sci-Fi opened her eyes. Her glow was soft but steady. The silver in her eyes had returned. I'm still here, she said. Weakly. Elias grinned. Yeah, you made it. Doc Marn smiled, too. Her system is stabilizing. She's no longer losing energy. And, get this, her charge is now controlled. She's safe. Safe isn't touchable? Elias asked. Marn nodded. She doesn't kill by touch anymore. Sci-Fi stared at her hands, unsure what to feel. She had never touched another being without fear. I'm different now, she said. I'm not really Lethery anymore. You're still you, Elias said. That's what matters. She looked at him, silent. Then slowly, gently, She reached out and touched his hand. For the first time, there was no spark, no shock, just warmth. Elias smiled wide. You're really here. Her hand trembled. I've never touched anyone before, and I've never held a star, he replied softly. But peace never lasted long. Just 2 hours later, alarms rang through the station. Martin's voice came over the speaker. Elias, we've got a problem. He rushed to the lab. The bounty hunters, he asked. Worse, Martin said. Someone leaked data. The Lethery Council knows Sci-Fi is alive and changed. Elias froze. What do they want? To capture her, study her, or worse, erase her? Sci-Fi stood in the corner, listening quietly. Her eyes were no longer glowing with fear. They were glowing with strength. I won't run again, she said. Elias turned to her. We'll fight if we have to. Martin interrupted. No, you can't win in a fight. But maybe we can show them something they can't ignore. Like what? Elias asked. A message. A broadcast. Show the whole galaxy that Sci-Fi is alive, stable, and peaceful. Make her a symbol. If she's in the light, they can't erase her in the dark. Sci-Fi stepped forward. I'll do it. Later that day, in the main hall of the station, a large holo camera floated above a quiet stage. People from all over gathered to watch, some in person, others through long-range signals. The event spread quickly. Sci-Fi stood on the platform. She wore a simple gown, her glow gentle and calm. Elias stood behind her, hands at his sides, silent but strong. She looked into the camera and began to speak. I am Sci-Fi of the Lethery, she said. I was born with unstable energy. My people cast me out. But I did not die. I lived. She held out her hand. Elias stepped forward and took it. The crowd gasped when nothing happened. I was changed not into something worse, but into something new, something strong. I'm not a weapon. I'm not a danger. I am proof that no species should be left behind for being different. She paused, and I am not alone. Elias spoke then. Humanity believes in second chances, in crazy dreams, and in dancing with death, just to see what happens. The crowd laughed softly. She danced, Elias said, and lived. Sci-Fi smiled, and for the first time in my life, I felt free. After the speech, the message spread through hundreds of systems. Many cheered, some didn't understand, and some, especially from the Lethery Council, grew angry. But they didn't move against her. Not yet. In the quiet of the observation deck, Elias and Sci-Fi stood together, watching the stars. You're different now, Elias said. Yes, she replied. But I'm still learning what that means. He turned to her. So, now that I can't touch you, she looked at him with a soft smile. You want to finish the dance? Elias held out his hand. Always. She placed her hand in his. Warmth, connection. No fear. They moved slowly, turning under the soft lights of the stars. No music. No crowd. Just two souls, finally free. The lights were dim inside the crew lounge of the Dawn's Pier. Stars drifted slowly outside the large glass windows. It was quiet, peaceful. Sci-Fi and Elias stood in the center of the room, facing each other. No gravity generators, no crowd, just silence and space. Sci-Fi's soft glow lit the room. It wasn't the deadly light from before. It was calm, steady, alive. Elias took a breath. He gently reached out his hand. You're sure? He asked. Sci-Fi nodded. Yes. I'm not dangerous anymore. Their hands touched firm, warm, real. No sparks, no pain. Just connection. It was simple, but for both of them, it meant everything. I never thought I'd be able to feel another person's hand, Sci-Fi whispered. And I never thought I'd hold a star and live, Elias said with a smile. They stayed there for a moment, not speaking. It didn't feel like the end of a story. It felt like the beginning of something new. But peace did not last. Later that day, a private message came to the Dawn's Pier. It was from the Lethery Council. Martin read it aloud. They request Sci-Fi return to Lethery space immediately. Elias frowned. That sounds more like a demand than a request. Martin nodded. Exactly. And if we refuse, they'll probably send warships. Sci-Fi stood in the back, her face unreadable. What do they want from me now? She asked. They say they want to study your change, Marn replied. But I think they just want to keep you quiet. Elias stepped forward. We don't owe them anything. You're free. Sci-Fi looked down. They are still my people. Even if they threw me away. Elias shook his head. You don't owe loyalty to people who try to erase you. Sci-Fi looked up. Her silver eyes were calm. But strong. I agree. But I also want to speak to them not as a weapon, as a person. Marn blinked. You want to go to them? No, Sci-Fi said. I want them to come here, to see me as I am. That's risky, Elias said. Sci-Fi nodded. But necessary. 2 days later, a Lethari delegation arrived at Iridanix. Their ship was shaped like a long blade of crystal, glowing with sharp blue light. It docked silently, like a ghost, inside the station's meeting chamber. Sci-Fi stood on one side. Elias and Marn stood beside her. On the other side stood 3 Lethari elders tall, glowing with pure, cold light. Their faces were hidden behind shimmering masks. One of them stepped forward and spoke. Sci-Fi of the Stormburn line, you were declared unstable. Why do you still exist? Sci-Fi answered calmly, because I chose to survive. You have changed. The elder said, you are not Lethari now. I am still myself, Sci-Fi said. But I am no longer a danger. I have control. I can't touch. I can live among others without fear. This is unnatural, another elder said. We are energy. We are separation. You are now compromised. Elias spoke up. You call her compromised. I call her stronger than ever. The elders turned their gaze to him. A human, one said with disgust, a creature of flesh and failure. Elias stepped forward boldly. Maybe, but your own kind cast her out. We welcomed her. We helped her, and she didn't destroy us. She became more than what you feared. Sci-Fi raised her hand. I didn't ask to be born flawed, but I chose not to fade. I found a way to live without hurting anyone. I will not return to be studied or silenced. The elders were silent. For a long moment, the air felt heavy. Finally, the lead elder said, we cannot accept your return to the Lethari system. You are something else. Now, Sci-Fi's eyes did not flinch. Then I will not return. I belong to no one. Without another word, the elders turned and left after the meeting. Sci-Fi stood alone in the hallway, staring out a large window. Elias walked up beside her. You okay? Yes, she said. I didn't expect forgiveness, but I wanted to. Say it. You said it well. She turned to him. Now I have a new question. What's that? She smiled softly. What happens next? Elias thought for a moment. Anything we want. That evening, the station held a celebration. Sci-Fi was invited not as a guest, but as a symbol of peace between species. She wore a simple silver dress. Her glow was soft and steady. No longer a threat, no longer a lone dot. As the music started, Elias offered his hand once again. Ready to finish that dance? Sci-Fi took his hand. Only if you can keep up. They moved together across the smooth floor. This time, their hands touched. Their arms wrapped around each other. No barriers. No fear. People clapped. Some cheered. Others just smiled. A Lethari, once feared, was dancing freely with a human dot, and for the first time, the galaxy saw something new. Not power, not danger, but hope. After the celebration, Elias and Sci-Fi sat on a quiet balcony, watching ships drift. Through the stars, Sci-Fi leaned her head on his shoulder. I used to think I was born broken. She said, you weren't, Elias said. You were just born different and brave. She closed her eyes. Thank you for seeing me. He held her hand. Thank you for letting me. The stars outside the observation windows stretched like silver ribbons. The dawn's pier drifted through space, heading toward Earth. The blue and green jewel that had become Elias Ward's home. Sci-Fi stood beside him, watching the lights of distant planets and moons flicker past. The ship was quiet except for the soft hum of the engines. It was a different kind of peace than the one on Iridanix, quieter, deeper. Elias turned to Sci-Fi. You ready for your first visit to Earth? Sci-Fi smiled. Her glow calm but bright. I am. But I am still learning what it means to be touchable. Elias reached for her hand. This time, no hesitation, no fear. Then let's do it together. When they landed on Earth, the world welcomed them with wide skies, fresh air, and open seas. People were curious but kind. The news of a Lethari who had changed and lived spread quickly. Some were scared at first, but many were eager to learn about Sci-Fi and her story. At the Cultural Center in New York, Elias introduced Sci-Fi to a crowd of scientists, diplomats, and artists. She told them about her home world, her exile, and her fight to survive. Humanity, she said, taught me that difference is not danger. It is beauty. The audience applauded. Elias watched her with pride. Days turned into weeks. Sci-Fi learned to live among humans, walking under the sun, feeling rain on her skin, and tasting Earth's food. She danced in parks and halls, not to hide or protect, but simply because it made her feel alive. One evening, under glowing lanterns at a festival, Elias and Sci-Fi danced together again. This time, the dance was full of joy, no fear, no pain, just two beings moving as one. Your people never believed you could dance without danger, Elias said softly. Sci-Fi laughed. Neither did I, but I was wrong. The festival crowd cheered around them, celebrating hope and new beginnings. But even as she thrived, Sci-Fi kept one eye on the stars. The galaxy was changing fast. New alliances formed, threats grew, and old fears lingered. One night, Elias received a message from the United Galactic Council. They wanted to meet with Sci-Fi and him to discuss the future of alien relations. This is it, Elias said. You're not just a survivor now. You're a symbol. Sci-Fi nodded. I want to help build a future where no one is cast out for being different. Together, they prepared for the meeting, ready to speak not only for themselves, but for all who had been forgotten or feared. The Galactic Council chamber was massive, glowing with blue light. Representatives from dozens of species gathered. Sci-Fi stood at the front, calm and radiant. When she spoke, her voice echoed clearly. We must learn from each other. Our strength is not in weapons or power, but in understanding. Elias watched as leaders nodded. Some still looked doubtful, but her words touched many. She continued, I am proof that change is possible, that fear can be faced, that we can dance with fire and not burn. The room fell silent, then erupted in applause. After the meeting, as the galaxy slowly opened to new ideas, Elias and Sci-Fi found time for themselves. On the deck of the Dawn's Pier, they stood under a blanket of stars. Elias smiled. You said once that you wanted to live, even if it meant being different. I do, Sci-Fi said. And now, she said, I want to live with you. He took her hand. Then we'll face the stars together. They danced slowly, softly, like the first time, but with no danger. Only love. The universe was vast and wild, but with each other, they were home.